with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, I think so.
You can. We don't mind. Okay, I need a motion to go into executive session to discuss fire department business.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Okay, we are going to begin our village board meeting for Monday, January 13th. I want to thank you all for coming out tonight. Last Monday night we had a little icing condition at our village, so we postponed our meeting to see you all. I just want to give you a quick reminder. Next month's meeting, the February 3rd meeting, we will be continuing the hearing for the Orange Avenue. For those of you who are interested in coming back out again, please do. It will be on the website as a reminder, but if there's anyone that doesn't get email or have access, please let them know that we are continuing the public hearing next meeting on February 3rd. I'd like to set the dates for the February, I'm sorry. Yeah, okay, let me set the dates, Bruce, and then we'll get to you. I'm going to set the dates for the February meetings. Workshop will be Wednesday, January 29th at 7 p.m. And the board meeting will be Monday, February 3rd, 2014 at 7:30 p.m. I would like to ask our committee chairman, Bruce Simon, of the holiday decorations. He has the recipient of the family who had the best holiday decorations, and he'd like to present that award at this time.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Board. Everybody, thank you for coming out. Every year, the members of the recycling committee go around a couple of times during the year and we pick out the best decorated house, whether it's best flower, best gardening in the spring, best Halloween decorations, or in December, it's best holiday decorations. Well, you call it whatever you like, Terry. Okay. And every year we do it, and we go down, and it gets tougher and tougher every year because people have really upped their game some years. And it was not the easiest choice this year, but I am proud to say that we have a certificate here, and the winner is here. Should I really read the name? The winning house belongs to Lisa and Glenn Wilson of East Maltby Avenue.
Where's Glenn?
That's for you.
Thank you.
Where's the red carpet?
Yeah, where's the red carpet?
Where's the red carpet? What can you wear?
That's right, Bruce. The Golden Globes were just last night. You should have asked her who she was wearing, all of that on the red carpet.
I wouldn't want to embarrass her. I do want to say, as great as the house looked and as tough as it was, I'm especially gratified about this particular award because the Wilsons do a great job all year long on keeping their house and their property looking incredible, and they have actually been nominated before and not won. So finally, kicking and screaming, we dragged you across the line. And considering the number of years you and your husband have given to the village in service, I can't think of a more deserving family. So once again, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you, Board. Back to you.
Thank you. Good job. Yeah, I'm going to do. Okay, I have another presentation. Isabel's gone?
Well, she'll be back.
Is she coming back down, do you know?
No.
You want me to call? Is she upstairs?
Yeah, I told her.
Oh, that's why she's not here.
We try 4 times a year to give out the Andrew C. Haggerty Award. Andy was such a vital part of our board and really believed in giving of yourself in community service and going that extra step to help out your fellow residents, going next door, checking on a neighbor who may need some help, just genuinely caring for others was what Andy was all about. And this is my first time that I got to pick the recipient of this award, and it didn't take me long to figure out who I believed set such a fine example of all of those things that Andy believed in. This person constantly goes above and beyond her jobs here in our very busy Village Hall office. She's always making sure that our staff is well taken care of, making sure that Virginia gets to the doctor, making sure that the girls don't miss their appointments, making sure that all those extra little things are done in the front office to make sure that things run smoothly. And I see Jim, our former mayor, leaning over and going, "That must be you, Joanne," because every mayor that's worked in this Village Hall knows that this woman goes above and beyond in everything she touches and everyone's lives she touches. So Joanne Chiaffi, thank you for all you do. You certainly are a fine example of the Andrew C. Haggerty Award. This is for you, and we have a gift certificate to Marcello's, and I want you to go out and enjoy yourself and have a nice night out, okay? We love you.
She's so cute.
Turn around and take a picture. Tears? Tears. Tears are good. Go enjoy. All right.
Very nice.
Okay, we will have our public hearing, community development. Fred Rella?
I'll sort of set the stage for this public hearing. Every year, the Rockland County Office of Community Development is given HUD money, and then that HUD money is to the varying communities throughout Rockland County on a competitive basis. And the Village of Suffern each and every year does apply for a portion of that money. Last year, we received the most money for any one project within Rockland County, and we received $85,000 for a program downtown, which is a multi-year program. Basically, it's a 5 to 6 year program. We've already gone through 4 years of it. We're looking to apply for a grant again for the 5th year. This has to do with rejuvenating the facades of the buildings downtown. Thus far, we've done approximately 7 of the buildings, and we're looking to do approximately about 5 or 6 more this year. The way we decide what to do, too, is there's a citizen advisory committee, and that's made up of Dorothy McClintock, I gotta put my glasses on, excuse me, Charles Sawicki, Ernie Bosco, Charlie Rogers, John Paul Mulfetta, and Heather Ford. And from that committee, what we do is we think about varying things that can be done in the village with the application process. And once again, we're recommending that we do the facade program, that we put in an application for $100,000. The village would have to contribute 10% additional to that, anything that's awarded, so it would be a total of $110,000. It would be the same amount that we put in for last year, and once again, we were awarded $85,000, which was the most of any municipality. Okay.
Thanks, Fred. Would anyone like to speak?
I would just like to say that Corinne has worked pretty diligently with some of the crazy stuff that has gone on, and some of the contractors that we were working with, he was great, you know, and looking forward to doing a lot more next year as well. And let's go for round 3. That's it.
Anyone else? Okay, may I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Okay.
Just to that, there is a resolution before you. The resolution has to...
I'm going to do that now.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
And they do look for a 100% support of the board.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. So the resolution is resolved that the village board accept the recommendation of the Community Development Advisory Committee to seek community development block grant funding for the Business District Revitalization Project and authorizes the submission of the 2014 Community Development Block Grant. The Community Development Block Grant application will state that the 2014 Business District Revitalization Project cost will be $110,000. Of this total, $100,000 will be contributed from the Community Development Block Grant, and $10,000 will be contributed from the Village of Suffern. Do I have a motion on this resolution?
So moved.
Second.
No? Okay. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Okay, our next public hearing is authorizing the fire inspector to enforce certain fire safety parking regulations. Terry?
Sure. The building department and the fire inspectors had asked that they be authorized to enforce the section in the village code that prohibits parking in fire zones, as well as a provision in the state vehicle and traffic law that prohibits stopping, standing, and parking within 15 feet of a fire hydrant. Of course, the police and the other authorities that can presently enforce it will continue to be able to, but this just adds the fire inspectors and assistant fire inspectors for enforcement purposes.
Okay, would anybody like to speak?
I move that the public hearing be closed.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Do I have motion to adopt it? A motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt.
Do I-
Where's my paper? Where's the, do I have to use the local law number?
No.
No.
Oh, what is the local law number?
Mayor wants to use he wants to change it. He wants to...
Well, you know, so there's not confusion. I think
okay.
probably the best way when you're adopting it, because the number doesn't really apply until it's been adopted and it doesn't really describe it. So I think the motion just should be to adopt the local law amending Chapter 105 of the Code of the Village of Suffern, authorizing the fire inspector to enforce certain fire safety related parking regulations.
So moved.
Okay.
And it was seconded by
Second, Mr.
Meehan.
Meehan? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Fire department, our chief was here. He had to go out to an emergency, so he has asked me to please bring up his two items. The first being new members for the volunteer hose company, Johnny Cano, Nick St. Jacques, and Michael Kahn, and for the hook and ladder, Elkin Escobar, and that's all pending background checks. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So moved. The second item that the fire department has is permission to hold a blood drive at the Suffern Community Center on Wednesday, February 12th, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Culture and Recreation, Kathy?
After I cross it off.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Village Board. A few updates for the upcoming month. We have the Farmers Market at the Community Center this Saturday, January 19th. We have AARP training in the Leo Leiden building the next couple of Saturdays. We have on Monday, January 20th, there'll be a fundraiser by the Chabad that was approved by the Village Board and the Mayor. And then on Tuesday, January 21st, in the community room upstairs, there's a public hearing. And one thing I would like to talk about tonight, there was a $100 donation that was given to us for the ice machine that we talked about at the last meeting. I'd like approval to accept that $100, and I'll give it to the village clerk.
Need a motion?
Yeah, I have a question. What's the public hearing on the...
It's for Orange Avenue.
No, that's not a public hearing.
What is it?
That's, one of the residents had asked for a meeting.
A meeting, I
Use
apologize.
the community center for a meeting to discuss,
That issue?
yeah, that issue.
Okay.
Okay, my
So
apologies.
it's okay.
It's not a public hearing.
Okay.
It's a meeting.
Move to accept the $100 donation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Do we want to attribute the donation to somebody, or is it an anonymous donation?
It is not, it's not an anonymous donation, but I don't have the information in front of me.
Be able to say thank you to the person.
And then in front of you, I handed out an events listing for the recreation events for 2014. With your permission, we will go ahead with those dates, and we'll be able to post them for the public for events for 2014. You don't have to give me an answer tonight, I just wanted you to see them and then get feedback for the events coming up.
Great, thanks, Kathy.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Pearl Harbor. Okay, grant writer, Fred Villa.
Tree City USA. Last year, we decided that the village wanted to become a Tree City USA. When you enter certain municipalities, you might see the signs on the road saying this is a Tree City USA. And so last year what we did was we put together a proclamation, we put together a village law about trees, and we also had developed a tree advisory board. I then compiled the application with the assistance of Bruce Simon, who's also chairman of the Tree Advisory Committee, and I got word that it's a two-step approval process, that the senior forester of our region with the New York DEC has approved our application and is recommending us to be a Tree City USA, and now it just needs one final approval, which is pretty much a formality, but will take about 30 days, and so basically then we can do it. During December, we worked really hard, Charles Sawicki, myself, and his assistant Danielle, along with a lot of people in Charles' staff for New York State hazard mitigation grants. We put in a total of 6 grants totaling $1.6 million. And just to give you a quick overview of what these were, it was the Orange Avenue to the West Ward Railroad Crossing Project, installation of flood doors at the wastewater treatment plant, purchase of a generator at the DPW depot, modify the well water house such that we elevate the wells, electric power supply to the water plant. Right now it's currently underground. We want to make it overhead so you have a second route. And to do some mitigation efforts to help prevent or alleviate the athletic field flooding and also that underpass on Chestnut Street. And that totaled $1.6 million. Also, I want to mention that Charles, Danielle, and Joanne, who received the award tonight, along with Joe Corrigan, worked diligently with the town of Ramapo with their siphoning system for the quarry, which is a $5 million project. Okay, they've asked for a tremendous amount of information, the town of Ramapo, and we assisted with that application process, and hopefully we're going to hear back about where we are in this application process in February. That may not be the final decision-making, but at least we know where we stand. This has been ongoing now for a couple months, all these programs, and they continuing to need to be additional information supplied. But, okay.
And also to follow up on the Ramapo, the application, there was given 5 business days for a tremendous, tremendous amount of work to get done. And what the village board, what the village staff did and Charles' group, it was absolutely amazing, the amount of paperwork that they went through and figured out and got to Ramapo in a timely fashion. It was really a great effort, and we teamed really well with Ramapo. They gave us what we needed, we gave them what they needed. It was truly a wonderful effort together, as well as Tara, the attorney, who is now handling it. This is one of her first, and what a doozy to be the first one that you ever had to file for. And I had a conversation with Ellen Jaffe yesterday, and she also wrote a letter to Rick Lords, and the director of the FEMA grants, and requested that he really consider this $5 million project for the town of Ramapo. So there's a lot of support from us and others around us for these things.
Okay.
Thanks, Fred. Village Attorney.
Thank you. As you know, the board passed a local law in December, I believe it was, creating the retirement incentive program for the police officers to try and get some early retirements, which in the long run would save a considerable amount of money. 3 police officers accepted those, and item B under my report, I'm going in reverse order here. In furtherance of that, we prepared individual agreements with the 3 police officers that set forth exactly what benefits they would be entitled to and what obligations they have, so that there wouldn't be any confusion going forward and to cut down the chance of any problems cropping up later on. So what I would like is authorization for the mayor to sign the individual agreements with officers DeRoma, Sheehan, and Alvarez.
So moved.
So, second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Now, that particular local law that authorized those agreements had particular timeframes involved. The board also was made aware that Lieutenant Bukowski was interested in taking a similar type of program. So in order to go forward with that, we would have to do a new local law, and if the board wants to do that, I would suggest that you set a public hearing for the February meeting. That would require a decision on his part by February 17th and his retirement by November 30th, and that would be on the same terms as the prior local law, which would provide 1 year's salary payable to him over 2 or 5 years, and if you'd like to proceed, you need a motion to set a public hearing.
So moved.
That would be, the public hearing would be on
February 3rd.
the 3rd at whatever time. 7:35?
35.
Okay.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
That's it.
Thanks, Terry. Audience participation.
Jim Genatino, 2 Memorial. I just have a question on this last item. Is there a reason why we're holding out till November and not the first fiscal year in June?
Yeah, Jim, what we had to do is we had to do his agreement separate from the other officer's agreement because he's not in the union. And being that we are going to have these 3 officers going out in addition to 2 more officers, one which is going out on 207C and the other one who's actually retiring, that'll be 5 officers that we're going to have to replace probably by May. So it didn't make sense for the chief to lose a lieutenant and all 5 of those officers at the same time. So what we're doing is giving the chief a chance to have the lieutenant there who is knowledgeable of the positions to help him through the process, and then he'll retire out afterwards.
Okay, just...
No, good, yeah, I understand. Mhm.
Also, on the flooding issue, I don't know whether you're aware of it, but the county of Rockland has submitted in their capital projects budget $3 million for flooding in the village of Suffern. So hopefully we'll see some of that money if we don't get everything through the town of Ramapo. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. Anyone else? Okay, moving along, Police Department.
Thank you, Mayor and Board, for your support with everything, and we do appreciate that very much. I just have 2 quick things. First of all, the board had asked me to take over the enforcement of the parking agents. We did so, and we hired 2 additional parking agents at the request of the Parking Authority and the board. They'll be starting tomorrow morning. The Parking Authority agents have worked out very well at this point. We have 2 of them. We'll be obviously adding 2 more tomorrow. And it's working out very well on our part, police department part. And second, the last thing would be we are going to be focusing on radar and speed details over the next several months. We received $6,300 from the New York State Governor's Traffic Safety Committee. They gave us $6,300. It's way up from what we had last year. That's used for aggressive driving offenses. And on top of our regular enforcement, we'll be setting special details throughout the village, primarily Wayne Ave, Orange Ave, Washington Ave, and Lafayette Ave. So, and that's all I have tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Chief, can I ask you a question?
Chief?
Real quick. Close to my home.
Sure.
Campbell Avenue is generally patrolled for speed purposes by town around. Is that
Correct. Yes.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So, because there's been a speeding problem there, frankly, since I was a kid. But
I know, yes.
and I assumed it was, since it's a town road, I assumed it was probably town around post.
It is, and what we do, Matt, is we've had same thing on Cragmere Road.
Right.
Cragmere, the houses to the right, or village when you're going down them, but the roadway itself is handled by the town of Ramapo, and I'm familiar with the complaints because we get them frequently from people up there calling us about it, yeah.
I mean, we've had a fatality on the road. I mean, it's
Absolutely.
an awful situation, but okay.
Thank you. Okay, you're welcome.
Okay, I'm going to jump to the village clerk. We'll get back to the Department of Public Works.
He's on his way.
He's here, he's just in...
The only thing I have, Mayor, is the approval of the board meetings, the special board meeting of October the 22nd.
Okay.
So moved.
You can't.
You can't vote yet. Joe,
No, you weren't.
Joe, you
Yes.
doing a second?
I'll second.
Okay. And we're going to have Mr. Byrne and Mr. Hagen will abstain since they were not here. All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Our finance department is also tied up. Okay, Jack, you want to go? We'll come
Yeah.
back to them.
Right here.
Great idea.
I had another copy that I was going to give to Kathy. Then you don't have to write speaking. For the record, I'm just going to read this briefly.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know what the answer is.
Please. Starting in 2000, the village contracted with Saratoga Associates to create a development program for the downtown commercial district. The village became acquainted with Saratoga when the late Mayor Andrew Haggerty and the late trustee Paul Trabb visited the village of Saratoga, New York, and after attending a New York State Conference of Mayors meeting, Saratoga Associates, SA, came to Suffern and requested the village board appoint a committee of citizen volunteers to come up with a plan for Suffern. There were no board members on that committee. Saratoga met with the Citizens Committee on several occasions and presented the sidewalk, tree planting, lighting, and crosswalk infrastructure to create a new downtown for Suffern. The plan, with community participation, although revolutionary, was easily adopted after a public hearing which had little of any objection, was basically a plan from the ground up as opposed to the top down. The sidewalks and lamps were installed during the spring of 2002 when an unusually heavy rainfall played havoc with the construction. This was constructed under Mayor Glinsky. Mayors Giannantino and Keegan chose not to continue the program and used community development funds for other purposes. Mayor Court continued the program by installing crosswalks at most intersections and starting the facade program, which we approved earlier tonight. Both these programs were funded with CD funds. The facade program is active now, and a number of properties have new facades, and there are other applicants in the pipeline. The original infrastructure improvements cost $1 million and were funded with CD funds, a member contribution of $300,000 from the late great Senator Thomas Meehan, a good friend of mine. I had served in the county legislature with him for about 10 years, and $150,000 from the Suffern Parking Authority. Over the years, the village has worked hard to improve downtown by seeking outside funds and by using community development funds. The Suffern Chamber of Commerce has also spent thousands of dollars of its money on advertising and professional marketing consultants. Unfortunately, we have many empty and underutilized storefronts in the village. We have built it, but they have not come. My proposal, and I'm proposed that the village board establish a new downtown committee with the initial mission of finding out why we are unable to attract shoppers to our downtown. The committee should be composed of 1 or 2 village trustees, 2 members of the Suffern Chamber of Commerce to be designated by the chamber, 1 or more downtown business owners not affiliated with the chamber, and volunteers with hands-on experience in the areas of rental real estate, commercial real estate, and market research. For the latter, I am suggesting that the mayor issue a press release calling on residents who can bring expertise to the table. And I'm sure that there are a lot of people who we don't know and the village board isn't aware of, who do have expertise in that area, and I'm really counting on that because I don't have expertise in marketing research. I envision the downtown committee will hire a market research firm which will attempt to survey potential downtown shoppers, both within the village, outside the village, and actually also in the northern part of Mahwah, New Jersey. And we'll attempt to survey and to give us the answer as to why people are not coming to our village. And I'd make a motion to create that committee.
Yeah, Jack, as we had talked, Jack and I have been working on this together since I took office, and I think it's important because we do have so many empty stores in the downtown area. We both keep looking at each other going, but why? Why are we not attracting businesses like Ridgewood is? Why are we not looking like Nyack is? I mean, that's constantly the question for the village of Suffern. We have such a great, warm village with wonderful people, but yet we're not getting the people here to bring their businesses in and to get the foot traffic. So I think it's important to have a committee as the first step in working towards getting these buildings to bring in some good businesses to attract into the downtown. And I thought, what better way than to get some people from our residents who would come. Why don't you come to the downtown area? What would you like to see down there? I'm very excited. Ace Hardware is opening up on the 20th, and I think that's going to bring a lot of foot traffic to the downtown area. I don't know if anyone has actually gotten to see the inside of it, but you are all going to be pleasantly surprised and excited to see the different array of items that they're going to carry there. When you think of Ace Hardware, you think of a hardware store. Think again, it's absolutely beautiful. Anything the mind can imagine is there, and they really took time to identify what we needed in Suffern as people who live and work here to be able to run into their store to get. They really tailored their store towards the needs of Suffern, which I thought was really great. So getting probably 10 more Ace Hardware's type of thinking into the village is what we're looking to do. So I will call upon volunteers. I will put out a press release asking for volunteers from our community. I am sure there are many out there who can come up with some good, bright ideas for what we could use in the downtown area. Whether you have marketing experience, or you're just a mom, or you're a professional who needs to drop into town for something, we want to hear from everyone to try to find, be able to go out into the marketing world to say, hey, look, this is what our community wants to see. We would welcome you with open arms. This is something that will grow and flourish here. So thank you, Jack. Yes, I will put that press release out. We'll also have Kathy put something out onto the website. You can speak with Jack. He'll give you, the verbiage on it, Kathy, exactly what we're looking for. We would like it to include what Jack has mentioned, but that doesn't mean that we wouldn't take more or someone who has some kind of different expertise onto the committee. So please get involved. I'm all about resident input, so I'm really looking forward to hearing from you. I'm hoping at some point to put something out to our residents, kind of a questionnaire, or what would you like to see in the downtown area, getting the residents very much involved in bringing the downtown forward.
Mayor?
Yes.
Second.
Would you invite the property owners to this?
The building owners?
To the committee, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Jack has that in the, yes.
That's a good start.
We would like building owners, we would like, business owners, chamber, anyone I guess it would just be anyone, because everybody should be involved in either shopping or having their business in the downtown, working in the downtown, whatever it is, we would love to hear some input from you.
And, Mayor, just maybe as a suggestion, in addition, we might want to reach out, this may be more for when the committee is established, but to reach out to Avon, for example, who has so many employees that maybe aren't traveling downtown for lunch or for whatever else they might be able to.
That's a great idea. When we
You've got
send out the
yeah.
questionnaires, we can also include the businesses as well.
And you also have the Salvation Army, which has a lot of people that live on site, obviously. That might be a place to get a good bang for your buck by questioning them, might give you some insight too. So just some ideas, and including I know Mr. Meehan mentioned businesses, but right, there are businesses, there are property owners that are not business owners, so I mean, just want to make sure they're all included.
Absolutely. Okay, I need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so moved.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. Okay, we're going to go back to Department of Public Works.
Good evening, Mayor and the Board. I am requesting the Mayor to appoint Mr. Joe Hunt to the Motor Equipment Operator 2 and Maintenance Supervisor position, effective January 14th at a rate pay of $41.50 an hour. Mr. Hunt has been approved by Rockland County Personnel Department.
So moved.
Okay, I would like to move this. The village treasurer has some questions as to how we are, where we're going to charge this to.
Well, I can give you some input. We are down one employee.
Okay.
So we have a surplus in the wage, or the salary and wage line.
Okay.
That's a lot of money. And there is very little difference in dollars from this pay rate and what his predecessor was being paid. So I don't see that there could possibly be an issue.
Okay, so what we could do tonight, we'll approve it pending... Subject to approval for funding by the village treasurer.
Okay.
Okay, is there a motion?
Jack made a motion.
Second.
Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
Mrs. Corrigan?
Yes.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
Mr. Meehan?
Yes.
And I vote yes, motion is carried.
I am requesting payment authorization for application of payment number 2 for the Hose Company Firehouse Roof Project to Hagen Building Maintenance Corporation in the amount of $6,803.20.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
Mrs. Corrigan?
Yes.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
Mr. Meehan?
Yes.
And I vote yes, motion is carried.
I am requesting payment authorization for application of payment number 2 for the general construction portion of the wastewater treatment plant dewatering system upgrade project to Northeast Remsco Corporation. This payment is in the amount of $545,930.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
Mrs. Corrigan?
Yes.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
Mr. Meehan?
Yes.
And I vote yes, motion is carried.
I am requesting payment authorization for application of payment number 1 for the electrical portion of the wastewater treatment plant dewatering system upgrade project to Fanshawe, Inc. This payment is in the amount of $54,245.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
Mrs. Corrigan?
Yes.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
Mr. Meehan?
Yes.
And I vote yes, motion is carried.
I am requesting payment authorization for application of payment number 2 for the roadway improvements Phase 5 project to Thomas H. Gannon and Sons, Inc. in the amount of $8,099.68.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
Mrs. Corrigan?
Yes.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
Mr. Meehan?
Yes.
And I vote yes, motion is carried.
I am requesting payment authorization for application of payment number 1 for the roadway improvements Phase 7 project to Tilcon, New York, Inc. This payment is the amount of $179,943.95.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
Mrs. Corrigan?
Yes.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
Mr. Meehan?
Yes.
And I vote yes, motion is carried.
I am requesting payment authorization for application of payment number 1 for the abatement portion of the demolition of residential housing project to PAR Environmental Corp. This payment is the amount of $125,775.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
Mrs. Corrigan?
Yes.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
Mr. Meehan?
Yes.
And I vote yes, motion is carried.
I have one additional item that's not on that list. It is part of a application, a payment request. I am requesting authorization for payment to the New York State Commissioner of Labor in the amount of $22,766.86, subject to final review by Village Attorney Terry Rice. The Commissioner will utilize these funds to satisfy underpayment of employees. The involved contractor is JNP Construction, Inc. of South Hackensack, New Jersey, for the water tank project. What happened, this was a project that was done a number of years ago, and the contractor apparently wasn't paying all his employees' prevailing wage. Right. So we were notified by the state. Terry has been involved in this and has been given direction on how to handle it. We just recently got a request from the state for this dollar amount, which goes directly to the state.
Do we still have money left in that fund?
We never paid the contractor anything at all.
Okay.
So,
And we've heard, not threatening letters, but we've heard from their attorney about trying to get the matter wrapped up. So we've had a number of notices from the state over the years with varying amounts that are claimed. This seems to be the final notice, so if I can confirm that this is the final number that the state is looking for, then we can make that payment and then, I guess, subsequently figure out the balance of the money that's owed to the contractor, if any.
well, there would be, yes. The contract was for $110,700.
Right.
So there, Terry, there would be an offset?
Yes, exactly.
Do you have questions, Tom?
Never remember $110,000 contract. I remember $94,000, approximately $94,700.
Do you want to put this over for a month and let Tom?
Well, there was, there was one change order that was approved by the board, and my recollection is I believe it's 110.7. I couldn't be absolutely certain of it.
Yeah, you know what? Charles, we're going to have to, this kind of stuff, we're going to have to talk with the village, you're going to have to work it out with the village treasurer before we come here to make sure that we're all on the same page with this.
Well, I just got this today, so we...
Yeah, so, this is something you're going to have to talk to Tom about before we can approve it.
Okay.
Okay?
I am requesting authorization to accept a low bid for the general construction portion of the wastewater treatment plant digestion system upgrade project. This bid is from Northeast Remsco Corporation, Inc. of Farmingdale, New Jersey, in the amount of $1,089,000. The cost of this project will be charged to the wastewater treatment plant capital projects account, and later tonight, Mr. Zordan is going to ask for a resolution, I believe, for additional funding.
Hold this off until we authorize it.
Yeah, we have to authorize it first, so we'll do it all when Tom brings it up.
Okay.
Okay?
Let's see, okay, there's the second portion of that, which I'd have to wait for as well.
Yeah.
Proposal, I am requesting authorization to approve the proposal from O'Brien and Gear for the construction management, startup, and commissioning of the wastewater treatment plant digester system upgrade project. This proposal is not to exceed an amount of $47,000. The cost of the project will be charged to the wastewater treatment capital projects account. Now, there is enough monies in there currently to approve that.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
Mrs. Corrigan?
Yes.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
Mr. Meehan?
Yes.
I vote yes, motion carried.
Okay. I do have one additional item, requesting authorization for Mr. Scott Brown and Mr. Joe Hunt to attend the annual CSEA Peer Trainer Refresher Course to be held in Saratoga Springs, New York. This course will start on Tuesday afternoon, March 25th, through Friday, March 28th, 2014. This course is provided by the CSEA at no cost to the village.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
That's it.
Thanks, Charles. Tom?
Good evening, Mayor and Board. Okay, let's see what we got here. All right, item one. We paid $136,934 for our firefighters' pension contribution. That's their low-SAP award program. So that's taken care of. We made our police retirement contribution of $715,000 on December 15th. The rate charged by the Empire Plan, the medical insurance, increased effective January 1st, 2014. The overall increase was 3.2% and was budgeted for. Okay, of the $1,272,000 in water, sewer, and billings from November, we have collected, $1,170,115 through December 31st. I know yours doesn't have that, but I didn't give you an update. We sent out $562,000 worth of solid waste invoices on December 31st, 2013. I'd like to thank the village residents because they're already paying. I appreciate that. Budget worksheets were distributed to all department heads on Friday, December 13th. They were to be submitted, their budget requests, by January 13, 2014, which is today. I am requesting approval for a resolution to borrow $1,100,000 to pay for the digester mixing system for the wastewater treatment plant. We do not anticipate borrowing the money during this fiscal year. However, we need the approval for financing so that we can give you the approval to go ahead with the work.
Two guys are funny with a fireman.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
Mrs. Corrigan?
Yes.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
Mr. Meehan?
Yes.
I vote yes, motion is carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then I guess you could approve
Yeah,
Charles'
we could,
request.
Charles, you want to come up for Part B?
Okay. Again, requesting authorization to accept the low bidder from the general construction, for the general construction portion of the wastewater treatment plant digestion system upgrade project. This bid is from Northeast Remsco Corporation, Inc. of Farmingdale, New Jersey, in the amount of $1,089,000. The cost of this project will be charged to the wastewater treatment plant capital projects account. There is a second portion of that, which is, there's a general construction, and then there's a electrical portion of that, which I need ask for approval on that as well.
How many, Mayor, how many bids did we have on that?
It should be in your packet there. I believe we had 4 bids. 3 bids for the general construction. We only had 1 bid for the electrical.
Scary numbers.
Yes, sorry.
I don't like to look at
It
these
is.
numbers.
Oh, I see.
They're all too many.
It is here, just as you say.
It's true.
Pardon me? Oh, okay.
It is here, just
Very
as you say.
scary.
They all have it.
Yeah.
And he likes his company now.
Well, he was low by a lot.
He knows his company.
You moved it?
Yeah, someone.
Second.
Yeah.
Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
Mrs. Corrigan?
Yes.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
Mr. Meehan?
Yes.
I vote yes, motion is carried.
I'm requesting authorization to accept the low bid for the electrical construction portion of the wastewater treatment plant digester system upgrade project. This bid is from HVS LLC of Garnerville, New York, in the amount of $86,973,000. The cost of the project will be charged to the wastewater treatment capital projects account.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
Mrs. Corrigan?
Yes.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
Mr. Meehan?
Yes.
And I vote yes, motion is carried. Thank you.
Can I just, do you have 1 second, just a quick question? I know it's very, nothing to do with what we just mentioned, actually, just another general question. I know it's very difficult this time of year to keep up with pothole issues. Those are the kind of phone calls that I get, the comments that I get. I'm sure there's an ongoing...
Yeah, we had crews out today. Matter of fact, I made a call to the state this morning as well.
Okay.
And they assured me that they were going to be out either today or tomorrow at the latest. But we are, and I explained to them that, this is extreme. We have some extreme conditions out there, and we're going to do everything we can to fill the potholes on the state highway, but we will need some help, so he's going to...
I was just made aware of what's described to me as a rather large one in front of Good Sam by their loading dock entrance, and a few on 202. I'm not exactly sure where, so I just
Okay.
pass that along.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. Yeah, actually, Joe came into my office this morning, as well as I met with Charles. Joe Hunt.
Yes, not me.
Joe. No, Joe Hunt.
There he is.
And we talked about that we had a little emergency situation where they had to be called out last night to fill some of those potholes because people were getting flat tires. So, as well as Mr. Sawicki calling the state, I also called the state, and they have assured me that they are going to get on this. So, with any luck, but in the meantime, Mr. Hunt and Mr. Sawicki and I all agree that we have to do our part to make sure that our residents are safe until they get to the point where they actually need to pave the roads that belong to them. So we're hoping that that will happen soon. Thank you.
Okay, let's see, item 8. We made a long-term bond payment of $170,000 during December, bringing our total long-term debt down to $6,040,000. We have no more principal payments scheduled for the remainder of this fiscal year. Last item. And we made a payment of $162,500 on our short-term debt in the sewer fund, bringing our total short-term debt for the sewer fund down to $375,000. We have no more payments scheduled for the remainder of the fiscal year. That's all I got for tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
We have to pass that resolution.
Yeah, Trish is going to bring it up.
Yes, I'm gonna bring it up. Okay. You have that, right? You're gonna read it, right?
I'll read it.
Okay. I'm a little disappointed. I was kind of excited, but Mr. Rosenberg's not here.
He could be, he's not one of those.
He's not. Jim, will you please tell him that in his honor, and with a plaque on the benches with his name on it, I am placing 2 benches in the downtown area that will read, "Thank you, Jack," on them. And they will be placed for him in the downtown, and I hope that we'll take some pictures and send them.
Request if you want to hear them.
I'm ready. Come up to the microphone and tell me the requests.
Lafayette Avenue, by the Parking Authority. These are his. I'm not saying
say
it's
that
the best
again?
spot in the world.
Go ahead, where?
And Lafayette Avenue, Parking Authority, and by the Capital Bank.
They're beside-
And if that's not agreeable, please put the benches back in the gazebo, is what he told me.
Tell him I was thinking about the gazebo, and I was thinking about the park down at the bottom by the clock. But I will take these other ones into
You
consideration.
mean Point?
No, Point's down there.
I'm sorry.
Suffern.
Suffern Park.
Right. So,
It's kind of an out-of-the-way spot.
Yeah, we're
You
gonna-
may wind up with problems down there.
I want to see if I can we have to talk to the banks, and, because that would be something that they would have to agree to.
That suggestion
So-
in front of the parking authority, there seems to be a lot of space there.
Space
I don't know,
there.
that may be- that may-
Yeah.
And possibly by their flower box by
Yeah,
Capitol.
we have to get the banks.
Yeah, well, you can ask.
Yeah, we'll ask. But they are definitely going in, tell him that wherever they are, we thank him for bringing them.
He's thrilled, believe me.
Good, good. And tell him, please give him our best wishes for a speedy recovery. The second
benches in Clerk.
item I have is, it is time to renew our planning advisory services for 2014 with Frederick P. Clark Associates. I believe you all have a copy of their proposal. Is there any questions? If not, I would need a motion to accept.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
Mrs. Corrigan?
Yes.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
Mr. Meehan?
Yes.
And I vote yes, motion is carried. The last item I have is, Terry's going to read, we have asked for a resolution to abolish the Suffern Parking Authority. We have found that the parking authority is really pretty much duplicating a lot of services that we could provide here at Village Hall. And it would save a lot of money to the village, as well as create some revenue if the village took over the parking authority. The police department would be, Clerk would be overseeing the ticket writing portion of the parking authority, and the financials would be taken care of by Tom, and obviously the legalities would be taken over by Terry. So we have to do a resolution and ask for legislation for this to happen, and I'm going to read that. Do you want me to read it, Terry?
I'll read it.
Okay, I'm going to have Terry read the resolution.
Yep, and let me just describe very briefly the process. Because the parking authority was created by the state legislature, and under the most recent amendment that the village had asked, its corporate existence continues till 2019, we need legislation abolishing it. And in order to get legislation abolishing it, or any type of state legislation, we need to pass a home rule request, which we will do subsequently. Before we can even get to that stage, what we need to do, and that's what this resolution does, is ask the state legislature to draw up a bill that would accomplish that, and that's basically what this resolution would do. Once there is a bill that is in the proper form and does what we need it to do, we can then pass the home rule request, and then this legislature can act on that. So briefly, the resolution says, whereas the Suffern Parking Authority was created in 1974 at the request of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Suffern, and whereas pursuant to the applicable authorizing legislation, the Parking Authority's corporate existence expires on December 31st, 2019, and whereas the Parking Authority has never incurred any bonded indebtedness and there is no bonded indebtedness outstanding, and whereas the functions performed by the Parking Authority do in certain respects overlap those performed by the Village of Suffern, and whereas the Board of Trustees finds that it would be more economical and cost-effective to eliminate the duplication of services, and whereas the Board of Trustees desires to initiate the process for the abolishment of the Suffern Parking Authority by the state legislature, now therefore be it resolved by the Board that the Board of Trustees hereby requests that the offices of Senator Carlucci and Assemblywoman Jaffe cause to be prepared the appropriate legislation to abolish the Suffern Parking Authority.
So moved.
Terry, can I just ask a question?
Sure.
What, if any, or are there any public hearing requirements along the path to eventual approval?
No.
No. What would there be a subsequent vote later on?
Yes, what will happen is, we will, if you approve this, we'll send it to the state legislature. They will have their bill drafters draft up a bill with assembly and assembly numbers. We will get the home rule requests, and then we'll have to approve the home rule requests subsequently.
I don't have a problem starting that process. I think we had mentioned this, I think, when we met before, that it's a lengthy, can be a lengthy process for the home rule portion of this. I have some information, we've met before, on the issue of the parking authority and the appropriateness of it, how it functions and how it should or not function. So I would support this first step towards that, but I just want to say that I may have more questions along the way before we take that final vote on the home rule, but I think we should get the process started. So I have no objection certainly to that, and there has been discussion on the board already about this. It's just that I have not spoken to, for example, to Scott Shedler individually about this, and I know that there's been some representations to me that he is supportive of this, Mayor. I don't know if I'm misspeaking.
No, absolutely. He's very supportive. He's actually started working on the process with Chief Osborne, and Chief has already taken over the ticket writing portion, right, because it has gone down so significantly to the point where they were kind of losing money, and we weren't really getting the tickets written downtown. There was a lot of parking that was not being ticketed that should have been. Since the chief's taken it over, we've probably quadrupled the number of tickets this month than had been being written previous. So I think it's a matter of they really didn't have any leadership down there. There's really no interest in leadership down there, and a lot of things kind of fell by the wayside. So with that keeping that in mind, Scott and members of the board have pretty much all indicated to me that they're very much in favor of the village taking it over. And of course, we wouldn't, we would keep the part-time jobs. No one would lose their job. We would, have the ladies who work in the office. We could put them upstairs. We have an empty office upstairs, so they could continue to sell the permits. We wouldn't want anyone losing their jobs down there. So we thought it through pretty clearly, but of course I totally agree with you, Matt. As we go through the process, I too, since it's something I've never done before, I'm going to have questions.
Yeah, I just may have more questions. That's my only point. That's
absolutely.
My only point. Thank you.
Yep.
Mayor?
Yes.
I'm glad you waited until I left the parking authority, too. I just wanted to. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so
You didn't say?
we are going to vote. We have a first and a second?
You have a motion.
Do I have a motion and a second? No second?
No second.
I need a second. Did you motion it? Who motioned? Oh, Jack. Okay, so I have a second. Okay, Mr. Hagen will have to abstain, right?
No, he's not employed by them anymore, right?
It's just a resolution.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He's not working there anymore. Okay,
Right.
Mr. Hagen, go.
Yeah, yes.
Go. Go. Mrs. Corrigan?
Yes.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
Mr. Meehan?
Yes.
And I vote yes, motion is carried.
Resolution number 18.
No?
It's resolution.
No, it's one.
It's one.
New
Oh,
year.
that's right, it's the new year.
Oh, my goodness,
I
yes.
forgot it's the new year.
Okay, we had a very nice surprise come to our attention, and I'm going to let,
Okay.
we're just going to say that we received notification.
Okay.
We received a notification today, which is very exciting, but that's the good news. The bad news is we have to get more information on
Yes.
Friday, but I would like everyone to know our good news. So
We have been awarded by Governor Cuomo, $3 million for flood mitigation. This is beyond the realm of excitement, and cannot thank everyone who helped push this along for this village of Suffern. We didn't even know we were in the running for it, which makes it even more special and exciting. There's a ton of information that we need to find out. There's a ton of projects that we have out there that we can use this money for all good, and we are looking to do the best thing for the village in flood mediation.
Yeah.
And as quickly as possible. It's going to take a little bit. This is not going to be done in 2 weeks.
Right.
We have a lot to learn about it. We do have meetings set up already with other villages, such as Stony Point, that have already gone through this process. From what I'm being told from Chris Jensen, the village of Suffern is way ahead of where Stony Point was when they started. So we are...
Without even knowing we were getting the money, we were already doing all the great things.
This is just an unbelievable gift. It is the most exciting thing that, not that I was not thrilled to death to get the money for the Lonigan homes, but this is at least happy no one's lost a home that we had to file for. So this will hopefully prevent anyone else from having this scenario happen. So, yay.
Very excited.
Yay.
Yeah, isn't that great? I'm very excited.
Yes. So we will be updating you on everything that we can find out.
Okay.
We didn't pass this, Jim.
What didn't we get?
It's the one for the, that Tom asked for. It's the resolution for the money.
Yeah, I think we decided we were just going to say...
What's this?
You got this. I don't know.
Is this what we just passed?
Yeah, probably. But
$1,100.
What, is this a second one for the public hearing?
This is the one that Mr.
Tom just did.
Jordan just requested.
You just did it though, right?
No, I didn't get a second on it.
Yes, we did.
Oh, second.
Sorry,
I'll second
I
it.
missed it then.
Joe did.
I'll second.
You sure?
Yes. You voted on that. That was $1 million.
No, I'm saying the change.
Oh, yeah.
What they voted on it.
We voted on it. We voted on it.
Okay, because we did not have a moment of silence in the beginning of the meeting, I'd like to rise and ask for one now. For all those serving overseas, defending our freedom.
I think so.
And I adjourn the meeting in their honor and memory. Have a good night, get home safely.